Hi guys, I'm Cassidy. I'm 22 years old and I just graduated from college back in May. I currently feel like nothing matters and I'm living in a void. So I normally cope with this by sitting in the dark, building a house on Sims, and listening to music, absolutely just vibing. But this time I figured I would film what I was doing and just put it on YouTube for fun because I really like editing videos too. So anyways, this is my first ever speed build. So if it sucks, I'm sorry, but if you have any feedback, please let me know. And if you want to leave a hate comment, I'll probably cry, but also go for it. I have a few disclaimers that I also want to mention before I start talking about the build. Number one, I play Sims on a Mac, which is honestly a little humiliating, but really, who cares? If you notice the graphics are bad, the lagging, which you see more towards the end, or the blue background behind the house, that's why. I have a PC that I played Sims 2, 3, and 4 on when it first came out. A little bit of a flex, but I had to leave it when I went to college. So I still wanted to play The Sims, obviously, and I used this Mac for school. So this is what I've just been using for the last 4 years. But my second disclaimer is that I'm currently filming this voiceover with my head under a blanket, talking into my voice memo app on my iPhone. My little DIY recording studio, if you will. So if you notice the audio is a little bit bad, then that's probably why. Yeah, I think those are all of the disclaimers that I need to cover. Anyways, moving on, I added these hedges around that bush because I think that it makes your landscape look more full, or the overall, the build will look better, I think. I don't necessarily love these hedges, but I think that they look really clean. Plus, since I play on a Mac and my graphics are so low, it's easier for me to stick to just a few key plants. I also think it helps make the build look more cohesive and clean, like I mentioned. But side note, I really like the vibe of the houses from over the hedge. I know that they're just basic suburban houses, but they're clean looking. And I used to purposely lose levels when I was playing the Xbox game as a kid, just so I could roam the houses more, because I wanted to know the layout so I could build them in The Sims. But while building this, I noticed that I start a section or room and put a little bit of decor, then start a new section or a different room. I never just sit and finish something in one go, which probably explains why I filmed this over 2 days and it only took me 2 hours to build this whole thing total. Sometimes I just get really frustrated with floor plans or wallpaper and just exit the game. But maybe that's what rage quitting in The Sims looks like though. So yeah, for me though, it's mostly floor plans. Half of it though, it's probably just in my head because I'm super picky with my quote-unquote build rules. For example, I hate when doors are on the edges of walls and I can't stand freestanding walls. That is just a no-go. Walls with no arches or columns. It's one thing to just have it there and put a TV or a fireplace, but when they're just there to cut off rooms, I just don't like it. But another thing that really bothers me is when I don't include counter edges. You'll see if you expand on the counters, which I do when I start the kitchen, that there's the counter edge piece that I always feel like I need to use when the counter is on the edge with no wall. Does any of that make sense? Maybe I'll do a video on random build rules I follow. I'm probably just too picky though, I don't know. I mean, it's honestly a miracle when I finish builds, especially because I never even play in them. I do upload them to the gallery though. My gallery ID is cassiprobably and it's in the description too. So here's me starting the floor plan. Luckily, I knew what I had in mind beforehand, so I didn't just sit here for an hour trying to figure it out. But I also put a door on the edge for the bathroom, which I literally just complained about. And yes, it's eating me alive, but I didn't want to arrange the structure of the house anymore, so I just let it be. So I'm starting to furnish the living room now, which I finish later. But does anyone else feel like the couches are lacking in the game? I used the love seats from Tiny Living here, which I thought went really well, but I wish we had more options that looked plushier and had pillows. I find myself using those boxy base game ones far too much for base game, for considering we're so far into this game, 6 years, right? But just because they match things easily, because they come in a bunch of different colors. Which, speaking of colors, I should mention that I tried to keep a dark, earthy tone consistent throughout the build. I wanted black and white to be the main colors because those are the easiest to add a pop of color in when I needed to. I also absolutely love that color aesthetic for houses and apartments, and I think it looks really, really good. I really wanted a dining table that sits 4 people in the dining area, and I ended up making it work in the end. I had a 3-seater there for a second, but I think I'm realizing that dining tables against walls are just another one of my weird build rules. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a dining table against a wall in my life. Not that I can think of. I don't even know why I have these weird rules, but I think that when I'm furnishing or building, I like to make things as realistic as possible. I don't know. If you have any weird build rules, please let me know. I can't be the only one. Or maybe I'm just, quirky. I'm not like other girls. I'm not like other sim builders, if you will. You can't see this, but I'm doing the Debbie Ryan right now. Like I mentioned, I'm playing on a Mac, so my graphics have to be on the lowest resolution, which is why my mirrors in-game don't reflect anything. That's probably the worst part of playing on a Mac, honestly. Like, that and the first-degree burns I get from my laptop on my thighs when I load up the game. We all make sacrifices though, but anyways, the mirrors not reflecting makes me sad because I remember the first time I played The Sims 3 and furnished a room, I was stunned at the reflection in the mirror and how it followed the camera when you would rotate around. So I tried to increase the resolution in my settings for The Sims 4 for just reflections, and it was just lagging way too much, and it didn't even look good. I mean, the mirrors literally looked like holes in the wall, like as if there was no drywall there. So I used a lot of those hedges in this build, but I go back and change the ones touching the house to those purple bushes that I used in the front yard. But seeing the house with these hedges gives me Sims 1 vibes, but that could also be my Mac graphics, I don't know. Also, when I do outdoor lighting, I like to change the lighting in the game to nighttime to see how it lights up the yard, but also it gives me that over-the-hedge aesthetic that I crave. I really have no idea what it is about that movie, but the lighting is gorgeous, especially at night. If you've seen the movie, that part where RJ walks on the floating pool tiles is just so good animation-wise. I'm a big fan of DreamWorks Studio. They always do such a great job. I don't know. I wish I had the skills to actually do animation. I think it's so cool. Here, I considered doing a regular fence or using that hedge fence, but I thought that this looked better and had the right amount of height, if that makes sense. Usually I really like using the base game fence that comes in a few colors, but it doesn't come in black, otherwise I probably would have just used that. But looking back, I really did leave the backyard pretty bare. I had chairs and a hot tub and stuff, but I didn't even put more decorative plants or anything, and I probably should have. That corner in the back, actually, by the chairs that I add in a second, would have been the perfect spot. I ended up putting a meditation mat there from Spa Day, but those are really small, so I mean, it still looks empty. But I mean, whatever. I don't really like doing backyards, to be honest. I don't think I'm very good at them, but I try. I find that when I play too, I rarely even use the backyard except for a party that I try and have or something, and I don't know. I don't really use them. Sorry I'm building in morning lighting right now, by the way. I do switch back to afternoon lighting, but I didn't realize that I was doing that for so long. Maybe it's because I'm from a desert climate, but I don't find myself playing or building in Oasis Springs very often, which is kind of a shame because I think the world is so pretty. Actually, same thing with Strangerville too. The neighborhood in Strangerville does go crazy though. So honestly, I should build there, but for some reason I just don't gravitate towards it. I don't know. I started to realize that I didn't have very many skill building objects, so here I am adding that chess table. I don't remember if I recorded this, but I also added a guitar in the bedroom, that meditation mat in the backyard like I mentioned by the lounge chairs, and I added some outdoor speakers, which aren't really skill building objects, but it would at least give your Sims something to listen to if they had a pool party or a barbecue or whatever. I don't typically use fountains in my builds, but I think that the fountains here turned out really nice. I think the fountain spitters look really chic. Well, I mean, as chic as my laptop will let them look. But usually I build suburban style homes, and a floor fountain like these would look out of place, I think, if it's not a mansion or something. So I'm actually really happy. There's me placing more outdoor lights, serving you over the hedge realness. You know how we had penguins in The Sims 2? I wish we had raccoons that could come and knock over your trash cans in The Sims 4. Well, okay, technically we can make one and create a pet, but I'm talking more NPC style like those penguins. Super unnecessary request, but it would be cool. I've been seeing possums actually run in my backyard here at home. Something similar like that would be fun. If you were, let's say you were in Granite Falls and saw a moose through the window, like how cool would that be? Well, I'm saying all this, but I don't actually want it. I want a hobby pack, like in The Sims 2. How we got free time, I want that so bad. If it was an exact replica, like I wouldn't even care. I want it so bad. That's the kind of energy I need to put into the world. Anyway, I'm finally going back and finishing up the interior of the build, just adding pictures, plants, rugs here and there just to make it more homey and full. But I imagine a rich older couple living in this house, you know, maybe they retired in their 50s and just have friends over all the time to hang out and have barbecues and stuff. I could also see a rich young sim living here as well that just likes to also have a bunch of people over. But really what this gives me at the end of the day is Silicon Valley rich tech millennial vibes. I don't know why. There's no way this makes sense, but that's just what I feel. The bathroom is probably my least favorite part of this house because it's so open. I probably could have put a shower tub instead, but I wanted the aesthetic of the shower, you know? The toilet just seems so exposed and out in the open. And plus, if someone walks in on you, they're literally gonna see everything, which doesn't matter, I guess, because this is a video game, but still. I doubt even Sims want that, to be honest. I mean, they get embarrassed, right? So no, they don't want that. Now for the final touches, I noticed that I had the same wallpaper throughout the entire house. Plus, the bathroom looked empty to me, like I mentioned, so I wanted to add a patterned wallpaper to make it look a bit busier. I used that one from Eco Lifestyle as an accent wall all throughout the house, and I think it really helped and really closed the spaces where I needed them. And then yeah, I'm just finishing up the decor in the bedroom with some chairs and plants. We're coming up to the ending screenshots here in a second. They have a bit of a lag, but I did the best that I could. So if you have any constructive feedback production-wise or build-wise, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to try and post about one video a week. Once again, my gallery ID is cassiprobably, and you can follow me on Twitter at Grimsimmer. See you in the next one. Bye!